I've had several people write in and ask about May 21st, Judgment Day, the end of the world, the Rapture, and they wanted to know my thoughts on it. First of all, do I consider myself a Christian? Yes. Do I follow teachings of Christ? Yes. Do I strive to be Christ-like? Yes. Do I believe in the Bible? Absolutely. 100%. But I don't believe in 100% of the Bible. And I pick and choose the stories that I want to apply to my life. It's true. But I know for a fact that many of the other Christians do the same thing. I mean, look, there's 15 scriptures, 20 scriptures that promote slavery and talk about how to treat slaves and how to get slaves, and I don't believe slavery is right either. I ignore that part of the Bible. I don't listen to that part. We also have to realize that back in the biblical eras, in the biblical times, there was no separation of church and state. The church was the government. And many of the scriptures, especially in the Old Testament, were from the government. You know, women that are virgins must be stoned. You know, how dare she try to marry someone if she's not a virgin? If a girl is raped, her rapist must marry her and pay the girl's father $50, or in that time, shillings or whatever. Scriptures like that. You know, hence the reason we have separation of church and state. I mean, heaven forbid, if evangelical Christians ran our country today, they wouldn't give a shit about what's happening tomorrow because it's the end of the world. You drive down the road right here in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, on the Florida Turnpike on the way to Miami is a huge billboard. Judgment Day. End of times. The world is coming to an end. It's in the Bible. But the way I remember it, the Bible, this part of the Bible said, it will be like a thief in the night. No one will know the time. Nobody will know the place. Nobody will know the hour. So how is it the entire world is freaking out that May 21st is Judgment Day? Now, for those of you who don't know what Judgment Day is, it's very simple. It's called the Rapture. It's what the Christians believe, especially the evangelical Christians believe, that Jesus is coming back and he's first going to take all the dead people. And then, after he takes all the dead people, he will take the saved ones, or the chosen people, those that have been living their life for Jesus. Do I think on May 21st that this is going to happen? No. I believe that this is a scare tactic to force people into becoming Christian. You will not, if you do not get saved, you will burn in hell. You'll have the fiery things of hell. Granted, you'll have to live on earth for 6 months because the rapture is May 21st and then December 21st is the end of the times. 2011, by the way. And that 6-month period, all the people left on earth have to live here on earth without Christians and with no redemption. Meaning there's nothing they can do. It's too late. Their judgment has been cast. That is why it's called Judgment Day. They're left here on earth and they're going to hell. But first they live with hell on earth for 6 months. To be honest with you, as a child, and even as a teenager, I'm scared to death of the rapture. There's 7 kids in my family, and many a times there'd be somebody else living there as well, like a grandparent or, you know, somebody from the church we were helping out. My house was full of people, is what I'm saying. And if I came home from choir practice or after swim practice or whatever, and I was the only one in the house, and I'm looking and I'm like, well, the grandpa's car's here, or oh my goodness, I'd look around and see that nobody was in the barn and nobody was outside in the field, and then I'd be like, oh God. Because back then I knew I was gay. And I'm like, oh God, the rapture came and I'm left behind. What am I going to do? And then I would sit in the house and freak out that I was the only one left in my family. Obviously other non-Christians on the planet would be here. But then I'm like, how am I going to live? I'm just a kid, you know. And then mom and dad would come home and be like, oh, what's up? And I'm like, the rapture did happen. But religious movies, I can't remember the name of the movie. If I can find it, I'll put it in the bottom here. And I'll also put a link to a song if I can find it. But a song that every time I heard it just scared the shit out of me. Let me see if I can remember it. Part of it goes like this. A man and wife asleep in bed. She hears a noise and turned her head. He's gone. I wish we'd all been ready. Two men walking up a hill. Something happened and the other left standing still. I wish we'd all been ready. I don't remember the rest, but it's all about people disappearing and leaving. Poof, gone. And I'm personally going to call my family on May 22nd and see what they're doing. Hey Mom, what's up? What are you doing today? You going grocery shopping? You know, as evangelical Christians, I wonder if they have any plans. Are evangelical Christians going to spend all of their money in the next 2 months because they don't need it on earth? If so, I will need rent after May 22nd. I'm one of those homosexuals that need money because I'm going to hell. Evangelical Christians, please note. Yeah. No, I don't think so. Again, I think it's a scare tactic by Christians to force us to be fearful of this tragic time, the gnashing of teeth in this fiery hell. Yeah, that's pretty frickin' scary. I was scared to death of it. And another thing that confuses me is who's right. Is the rapture happening on May 21st, 2011, and all the Christians erased, and then the world comes to an end on October 21st, 2011? Or were the Mayans correct? Is the world ending December 25th, 2012? So I guess our world's ending in the next year or two, no matter how you look at it. So I say party like a rock star. You don't have much time left. But then again, I don't think that these are accurate. If the Bible is right, I believe the fable or the story. If the Bible is right, I believe the part when he says no one will know the time or the place or the hour. And that kind of cancels out the whole May 21st. I don't know. But my brother, who obviously was raised in a religiously abusive family, beat over the head with the Bible on a daily basis, I do believe that we should have a huge kick-ass party and invite everyone, all the sinners, all the skanks, all the prostitutes, all the gays, all the lesbians, all the strippers, any person with an unclean lifestyle, and we should have a kick-ass block party. And we'll call it a no judgment party, or a hell on earth party, or something where we can all get together with no guilt and no shame and realize that we were all created in God's image. And He loves us. He doesn't judge us. His followers will judge us, but He doesn't. But yeah, I clicked on the link. I'll put the link here. There's a link of May 21st, End of the World, Rapture. And I watched a couple of the videos, and to be honest with you, part of me stirred. And I got a little scared. It's like, oh my God, what if it's right? What if they were right all along? But then again, I also firmly believe that if they were right all along, that Jesus would have delivered me a long time ago. Because I spent 12 years praying that God deliver me of my temptation. Like I've said in other videos, I've tried to get engaged, I've tried to fall in love with women, I've tried to force myself into heterosexuality. And I went to a major Christian school, I went to church camps, and I went to every Christian altar that I could find, evangelical, not evangelical. I've even tried Catholics. I even went to a Korean priest at a Korean church that didn't even speak English. Had really good food though. And prayed, God, just take this away from me. I don't want to be this way. But I now know that He never delivered me because He had no intention of delivering me because He didn't mess me up. But yes, my thoughts on May 21st. I believe it's religious hype. And I think there's going to be a lot of embarrassed Christians. Just like when Oral Roberts said that he needed $40 million from Christians so he can build the City of Faith Christian Hospital. And that God said if he didn't raise that money, he was going to be struck dead. I think he was a little embarrassed for a long time after that. I know I went to ORU and a lot of people were embarrassed. I mean, especially in the 80s, but when I went, I guess it was no big deal. Oh yeah, he did that. Oops, him. You know, but obviously God didn't strike him dead. And obviously on May 22nd, we're still going to be partying. It's all funny. The Bible was written by men, interpreted by men, and passed down by men. But not only men, but men of the government, and men of the city, and kings translated the Bible. And they wanted stories to be said in ways that they could benefit from. You know, why can't people eat shrimp? Maybe, I don't know, I didn't live back then, but maybe somebody back then got food poisoning because they ate shrimp that wasn't chilled, and they didn't have science and technology to know about food poisoning, and they didn't know that you didn't have to die from food poisoning. And maybe they put a law to protect all these other people from shrimp poisoning. And back then, that was probably an awesome law, because they didn't know science. They didn't know that you had to chill food at a certain temperature. And they didn't know, you know, they just knew that somebody got real bad sick off that shrimp. Well, that was Kentucky just now. And they were trying to prevent that from ever happening again. Very possible. But is it in the Bible for us today? I don't think so. Yes, there are religious sectors that firmly believe that. They firmly believe that anything that the Bible says. But again, I think it's a great book of fairy tales, just like Mother Goose, the little boy that cried wolf. But they have amazing stories that we could live and follow our lives after, like Jonah and the whale, and the faith of a mustard seed, and you know, there's no room at the end, but there was a virgin who got pregnant by a spirit, and an angel came to talk to you, and all these things. I think that they're amazing stories, and I do think that we should live our lives by them. But I don't think that we should believe every single detail of the Bible as 100% true. Otherwise, we'd be killing all the people that lost their virginity. That's stupid. These people that are talking about the world ending on May 21st are saying that gay rights is a sign of the end times. What about black rights? What about women's rights? All these things, they were definitely the sign of the end times. Women are allowed to vote. They have a voice. Holy shit. Call the press. The end of the world's coming. You know, they've been having rapture parties for millions of years. I've been ready for the rapture since I was 10. And every time I went back to church, scared right back into that whole, you've backslid, you're no longer a Christian. Really? What is Christianity? Being Christ-like. And I do feel that I'm much more Christian than a lot of Christ followers. But judging and putting down others because you feel that you're holier than they are, that's not love. I don't know. Peace out. That was a very crazy ass Misty. I don't even know if I addressed the topic. Judgment Day. Craziness. Scary malarkey. You better watch out. You'll burn in hell. Fire. Anyways. That was an Ask Misty.